two different words, as I told you. Like, I feel much more comfortable in this weight division than in the featherweight division. In the featherweight division, to make the weight class, I had to almost kill myself.
Charles Olivera has finally opened up on his devastating loss against Ilia Topuria at UFC 317. However, after his victory over Charles Olivera, Ilia Topuria spoke with calm confidence, showing no sign of pressure. He touched on how people often misjudge his self-belief as arrogance, but insisted it stems from the trust he has in his training and abilities. Topuria hinted at how his performances inside the cage reflect countless hours of hard work behind the scenes.
What happens is that when I talk, they think that I'm cocky and I'm overconfident and all that, but in reality, is that I feel that no one can match my level of skills inside the octagon. The way I perform, the way I move inside the octagon, they don't see me coming. I know what I'm able to do inside that octagon from my training comes. During the training sessions, during the sparring sessions and all that, I know how good I am. And when I come here and when I talk, they think that I'm cocky, but then they think that I'm crazy. But in reality, I'm not. I used to say that I represent the new generation of the mixed martial arts. And it took me a little bit of time to demonstrate it. You know what I mean? So thanks God, after every fight, I have more believers in my team.
Yeah, I would say so. There's not many doubters at this point, Owen.
Ilia Topuria further spoke about predicting the finish, saying he had seen it coming exactly as it happened. He mentioned how his movement and timing played a key role, and that his opponent wouldn't be able to react in time. He reminded everyone that he had been saying it all week.
Saw it exactly like this. Exactly like this. I knew it. I knew it. Like, in the moment when I'm gonna start to combine punches, he's not gonna see me coming. And I call this. I actually told you during the whole week, I told you, he's not gonna see me coming. The way I move, the way I do it, they can't do anything against it.
However, Charles Olivera looked back on his journey, admitting the result wasn't what he wanted, but accepting it as part of the sport and a part of God's plan. He let fans know he was doing fine, needing only a few stitches, and thanked everyone for their support and kind messages. For now, his focus is on healing, spending time with loved ones, and thinking about what comes next. Charles Olivera said, "It's been many years doing what I love. Tonight wasn't how we wanted it, but it's part of it. And as God wanted, I'm fine with a few stitches, but it's part of it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone for the energy, support, and affection for me. I'm gonna go home and see what happens next." Charles Olivera shared on his X account, offering a heartfelt apology to all his fans who have stood by him through every high and low in his career. He thanked them for their loyalty and constant support, saying he felt their love even in defeat. Charles Olivera wrote on X, "My apologies." Furthermore, Ilia Topuria mentioned the brief moment he shared with Charles Olivera after the fight, noting the respectful vibe between them. He spoke highly of Olivera's career and hinted at the respect he has for him, not just as a competitor, but also as a man. The exchange showed class and mutual regard, not conflict.
If it's a private conversation, I understand, but if you're able to share, what was
share like very respectful words with each other. All the respect in the world for Charles. He's a legend. He's a legend, and I have all the admiration in the world for him. He's, as I said, an amazing human being, a role model for all of us.
Ilia Topuria continued to speak with firm self-assurance, giving a glimpse into the mentality he brought into the octagon. He referenced the work done behind the scenes that shaped his belief and hinted at the level he feels separates him from others in the division. He acknowledged how some may view his confidence, but made it clear that his results speak for themselves.
I just came to collect my belt. I already won it in the training sessions. I know how hard I work. I know what I'm able to do in the sparring sessions and the training sessions. I know how good I am. I know that no one can match my level of skills inside the octagon. And when I say this, maybe I sound a little bit cocky. You guys think that I'm crazy, but I used to prove it. that I'm the best fighter in the world.
Moreover, Ilia Topuria lastly said he felt far more at ease competing at lightweight compared to featherweight. He mentioned that cutting down to the lower weight was extremely hard on his body, almost unbearable. In this new division, the preparation felt smoother, and he truly enjoyed the journey. He made it clear that this is the weight class where he feels he belongs.
Two different words, as I told you. Like, I feel much more comfortable in this weight division than in the featherweight division. In the featherweight division, to make the weight class, I had to almost kill myself. In this weight class, I enjoyed the whole process. I feel much more comfortable in the lightweight division. Of course, I belong to this weight class.
Moreover, Beneil Dariush said he hadn't watched the full fight yet, but praised Ilia Topuria's performance and called him one of the top-level fighters. He mentioned the early finish didn't surprise him and touched on Charles Oliveira's aggressive style and how it played a role in the outcome.
To be honest, I still haven't seen the full fight because I was in the back for one, and then two, I just never really got a chance to sit down and go over the fights. But he's elite of the elites, man. He's so good. He's whatever he's doing it's just ahead of the game.
For him to finish Charles Oliveira in the first round, did any of that surprise you though?
I thought if it went Ilia's way, it would be in the first or the second round. But if it went Charles's way, what Charles would have to do was basically make it a longer, grinding kind of fight. And I was surprised Charles wanted to be so aggressive. But then, that's what made Charles Charles. So I understand not wanting to get away from who he is.
He also spoke about what could be next for Charles, suggesting some time off before returning. Dariush hinted at Max Holloway as a possible opponent, noting how things could line up depending on what happens next in the division.
But now looking at Charles, what do you think should be next for him though?
For Charles, I would assume he's going to take quite a bit of time off. I would recommend for him to take anywhere between 6 to 8 months off and then come back and fight, So as far as who, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Max Holloway. That's just my opinion. Because Max is not going to get a shot at Ilia, right? And if Max wins the fight, or if he even loses, I think that's the fight they'll make.
Tom Aspinall reacted to the fight by calling it a great back-and-forth battle. He said the power was just too much to handle and pointed out the low center of gravity as a key factor. Once the shots started coming, he said, it was unstoppable.
Great fight while it lasted. Back and forward action, but he was just too powerful, man. You've got that low centre of gravity. Once he starts unloading, that's it.
Demetrius Johnson praised Ilia Topuria for another big performance, pointing out how quickly he took control and set the pace with sharp striking. He noted Ilia's ability to adapt, mentioning the early grappling exchange and how it shifted. Johnson highlighted Ilia's all-around threat in every part of the fight.
Ilia Topuria getting it done once again against Charles Oliveira, becomes the lightweight champion of the world. So let's talk about this fight. Right off the rip, he comes in the middle of the octagon. He starts popping that beautiful jab he has, and they start exchanging, and Charles is not getting the better of the exchanges, and Charles went with a high guard and threw a low kick. The low kick was landing more of a calf kick, but Ilia Topuria was still pressing forward. I did like how Charles did try to use his size difference and take down Ilia Topuria. Through that exchange, it looked like Charles Oliveira pulled him off the cage, went for a bear hug, and went for a trip. When he did that, Ilia Topuria was able to reverse him and land in guard. Now, this is one of the things that I've always really enjoyed about watching Ilia Topuria, is that he's very good everywhere.
He also spoke about the finish, saying the right hand changed everything, followed by a clean left. He described how the fight ended quickly once Charles was hurt, with a few shots on the ground making it final.
And then once that right hand landed, Charles was out. The right hand put Charles out. Then the left took, and that also put Charles out. Charles was going out completely out. You can see his eyes rolling in the back of his head. Didn't roll in the back of his head, but he was out. He was there, but nobody was home upstairs. And then he drops Charles, goes around to the right, lands 2 hammer fists, and that's all she wrote.
Sean O'Malley also made reference to his previous call out of Topuria, thanking God that his previous comments never led to them sharing the octagon with one another. He said, "Islam versus Topuria needs to happen. He's up there with John Jones. Knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, knocked out Max Holloway, knocked out Charles. Islam next at 170. Who would even fight Ilia at 155 next? Thank God he didn't accept my call out. After I beat Cheeto, I called out Ilia and he got scared and ran to 155. No, I'm just kidding. Thank God the UFC didn't make that fight." Luke Thomas spoke about Ilia Topuria's rise with high regard, comparing his current run to the early days of legends in the sport. He mentioned how Ilia's dominance reminds him of what fans saw during the early careers of fighters like John Jones. Though not as flashy as McGregor's era, he said the energy feels familiar.
What was it like when at light heavyweight, John Jones was on the come up and beating everyone? It was like that. Now, this doesn't have the same fanfare of Conor McGregor and the stakes and the size and the spectacle, and it doesn't have that. I'm not saying it's the same, but if you're wondering what it was like, if you maybe missed McGregor in the 2010s when he was coming up and making these insane proclamations and then just delivering on them, it was like that.
He went on to call Ilia one of the most unique athletes he has come across. While he's not ready to rank him among the very best just yet, Luke pointed out that Ilia is following a path similar to some of the sport's greats. He urged fans to recognize how significant this moment is and what Ilia may become if this streak continues.
This is one of the most special fighters I've ever seen. Now, I'm not putting him at, the top just yet, but this he's doing, this is what the greats did on their way up. Some, less evenly in different ways, but it's like this. What he's doing is on par with early championship run, or even better maybe than John Jones or Conor McGregor or Khabib, or you name it. That's what he is. That's what he represents. That's what he's doing. I need everyone to understand the historical significance of what this guy is and who he is.
MMA Guru gave his reaction to Ilia Topuria's impressive showing at UFC 317, calling it a brutal and dominant finish. He highlighted how quickly Ilia got to work, passing Olivera's guard with ease and never looking troubled. Guru also mentioned the growing buzz among fans who now want to see Islam Makhachev move down and face Ilia, believing a knockout loss could be waiting for the lightweight champ. MMA Guru stated, "Ilia Topuria scored a nasty first-round knockout against Charles Olivera at UFC 317. It looked like easy work for Ilia. He was already passing Olivera's guard early in the round before finishing him. Now, fans are calling for Islam Makhachev to come back down to face Ilia, saying his knockout loss is waiting for him." He went on to express surprise at just how dominant the fight looked, even though he had predicted a quick outcome. He commented on the trend of smaller fighters finding major success when moving up in weight, making a bold claim about the matchup between featherweights and lightweights. MMA Guru added, "Ilia Topuria made such easy work of Charles Oliveira, man. I said it would be early in the first round, but even I'm surprised how easy that was. UFC 317. Everything changes in MMA, but one thing remains the same. Featherweights moving up will always lightweights at 55, bad." Michael Bisping responded with disbelief and respect, pointing out how sudden and brutal the finish was, especially against someone like Charles Oliveira. He acknowledged Oliveira's legendary career, his time as champion, and the many records he holds. Bisping stressed how remarkable it was that Topuria not only beat a fighter of that caliber, but did it with ease and precision, just as he said he would.
That was as nasty as knockouts come, and what made it even more shocking is that he did it to Charles Oliveira. That's been in there with some of the greatest. That is a former champion. That has the most bonuses, the most finishes, the most submissions. We know the caliber of the man. He made it look easy. He said he would do it in the first round.
Daniel Cormier admitted he was nearly speechless watching Ilia Topuria's performance, praising his control, power, and ability to call his shot and make it happen. He noted that many thought Charles Oliveira would be a tough test, but Ilia handled it with surprising ease.
Very rarely am I at a loss for words when it comes to athletes. I really cannot find the words to explain what we are seeing from Ilia Topuria. I mean, his ability to control guys, knock guys out, tell us what he's going to do to knock guys out, and then go out there and deliver is second to none. You know, you kind of expected him to have a harder time with Charles Oliveira because we have seen everybody have a hard time with Charles Oliveira.
Cormier also called Ilia a rising superstar and said fans have every reason to be excited about his future. He believes that if Ilia stays disciplined, he could rule the lightweight division for a long time. While he sees Islam Makhachev as a major test, Cormier said Ilia is currently standing out from the rest in an extraordinary way.
Ilia Topuria is a real life star, man. He really is. And I think that we're going to be watching this kid for a real long time. As long as he stays the course, he seems to be doing all the right things. As long as he stays the course, I believe he's going to be very viable and in the championship picture as the champion at 155 for a long time. I think Islam can fight him, but I think Islam will be one of the greatest challenges he would have because they're both just next level. But right now, man, he seems to be separating himself from everybody. It's just unbelievable.
Alexandre Pantoja spoke with a blend of respect and emotion, recognizing Ilia Topuria's skill and the quality of his victory. He praised Ilia's style and execution, while also expressing deep admiration for Charles Oliveira. Pantoja highlighted Charles's importance to their country, calling him a role model and a figure who motivates the next generation. His words reflected both admiration for greatness and loyalty to a national hero.
Were you able to watch the Ilia Charles fight?
Nah, man. I just see the last punches, you know. Like 1 year and a half. I see Topuria in some events. I'm on the gas fighter, and I talk to Topuria, brother. I'm a huge fan, you know. The way you did, the way you fight, it's so nice, you know. And then when he put this fight to Topuria, Charles is so tough to me, you know. But of course, I need to support Charles. Charles is an icon from Brazil, and this loss don't change anything about the Charles, you know. Charles supports Brazil so much peoples, you know. He changed his whole peoples on his side changed. He bring a lot of kids. He bring a lot of teammates to come to Las Vegas to feel everything, you know. That's amazing leadership he have, you know. But Topuria is phenomenal, brother. Topuria, for me, is one of the best step in the octagon.
Conor McGregor applauded Ilia Topuria for capturing the belts he once held and made a playful remark about Ilia's jab at Paddy Pimblett. He complimented Ilia's knockout streak, calling it clear proof of his form. McGregor also gave props to Charles Oliveira, calling him a legend and wishing him well. The post was later deleted, leaving fans scratching their heads once more. Conor McGregor wrote, "Congrats on winning my old titles, Ilia." He said he's gonna rest his balls on Paddy's head to ha 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 fear play. Good lightweight scrap, that one is as well, Imo. UFC is back, or still missing something. Knockouts back to back is very good. No one can deny the knockout. I like roses. Unlucky to Charles also. Styles make fights. You are a tremendous and legendary UFC fighter. Rest up. Javier Mendez reacted by pointing out Ilia Topuria's sharp execution and the confidence it took to predict the round and deliver. He mentioned Charles Oliveira's aggressive approach, but wondered if it was truly his plan or if Ilia's pressure left him no choice. Mendez acknowledged that Topuria made a major statement in the division and hinted at his own enjoyment watching such a high-level matchup unfold.
Yeah, no, it was extremely impressive, you know, and you got to give hats off credit to Topuria. You know, he is extremely impressive, extremely confident, and even picked the round he was going to knock him out in. You know, he said he'd take him out in the first round. Sure enough, he did that. And Charles was, you know, willing to engage with him. He stood in the pocket with him, which I'm not so sure that was a smart move. But regardless, you know, maybe Charles didn't have a choice, and Ili's pressure was just too much. So either way, you know, it was an exciting fight, and it just showed that, you know, Ili's the real deal at lightweight also. So no, it was a fun fight for the fans, and a new star is on the horizon now, which is great for the UFC, great for us fans, because, you know, I just might be a fan myself of all these guys, not just a coach of my guys. I love watching the great events like this.
Javier Mendez also noted that with Ilia Topuria now holding the lightweight title, he has the power to make decisions. He mentioned that future plans would depend on the UFC and what Islam Makhachev chooses. However, Mendez made it clear that their focus right now is on Jack Della Maddalena, calling him a serious challenge and their top priority before considering a matchup with Ilia.
He's the champ at that weight now, so he can call the shots. And let's see what the UFC allows him to do, and let's see what Islam wants. We have to still get by JDM, and that's no easy task. Say JDM is going to be an extremely tough fight for us. So, you know, let's focus on JDM before we can focus on something else that could be a really exciting fight down the line. But let's see what the cards play for us. Right now it's JDM.
That's it for today's video, so what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now.